Hello, my name's Steve. This is going to be a series of videos about my journey into cancer. I have stage 4 non-resectable cancer right now that has spread from my rectum to my liver. So I'm undergoing chemotherapy for that and also Therasphere Y90 for the tumours in my liver. Along the way, I'm also going to be exploring the effect of positive energy and negative energy, and also psilocybin mushrooms. I've used those in the past, and I can tell you it's not just for muddy hippies in fields. It's a serious medicine that's been around for as long as mankind and has been utilized as long as mankind has known its effect. So buckle up and hopefully you'll gain something, or somebody will gain something from this series of videos that will help them. And that's a positive thing, right? Right, so to give you some of my background and how I think my cancer started, my son died in 2022, and I accrued a huge amount of negative energy inside me in the form of guilt. Like I could have done, as a parent, you always think you could have done more. You saw it coming, but there were things you could have done to save him. He was 24, committed suicide. And, that self-loathing, the hate, the guilt, and the anger, the hate is the anger. It's all pervasive. And there was a point where I felt so low that I kind of said, well, screw it, take me, I'm ready. And I think that's when I flicked the switch, because the cancer can, by what I've understood, can be dormant in your body, and it takes something to flick that switch to get that thing rolling and replicating and causing tumours and that kind of stuff. And also I was really drinking, kind of offset the symptoms of the grief. And that's when my switch went on. So the positive that came out of that was my introduction to psilocybin mushrooms, because I had to do something other than drink. And I'd done some research into it and it looked promising. So I went through Facebook Marketplace and scoured the ads, and it's legal here in Colorado. So I managed to do a trade with a very lovely lady in a parking lot and got some very high-grade mushrooms. And I tried a medium to high dose of 2 grams, which was, I think, about 4 mushrooms. And they taste like crap. And it's not something you're going to get hooked on, because it's not a really pleasant, euphoric experience. It's quite an intense experience, and you stay sober for the whole thing with all these fractal shapes and things going on. But they changed my life like night and day. It was just incredible. You only have to do this once a year. And I followed some guidelines on YouTube about the set and the setting. That's very important. And I took the dose. And all I can, being a kind of engineering background, all I can really liken it to is when you've got a corrupted hard drive on a computer and you try and start it, and it's the run thing is going through all these programs and corrupted files. Well, that's like all the rumination you do and the guilt and the self-blame. And it takes forever before it actually starts to function usably. And so in the old days, you would go into disk cleanup and you would press disk defragmentation, and you'd watch a little bar and it would get rid of all these corrupted files and trash them out and then close up all the gaps. Well, it was like that. It was like being weighed down with hundreds of pounds of baggage, and then all of a sudden just wearing a rucksack with just the stuff that's important, the stuff that matters, the factual things you can do stuff about. And it was I hadn't laughed for 2 years. I never had a really good belly laugh with a friend. And I came down off of that trip and I called my buddy Brian and we just howled with laughter, all kinds of stupid things. And so that was my introduction to psilocybin. So the cancer, how did I find out that I had cancer? Well, I was doing a kitchen remodel on this house and jobs that should have taken me a week were taking me 2, 3, 4 weeks. Just no energy, really low energy. And I couldn't kind of work out why I was feeling like that. And then I noticed that my stools were getting more and more regular with smaller amounts and getting thinner. And so I went to see the doctor and I had no blood whatsoever. So it probably wouldn't have even shown up on one of these home Cologuard kits because they mainly look for blood. No pain, a little bit of aching in the pelvis later on. But at this stage, I went to the doctor and he said, well, it's probably hemorrhoids if you have those. I have had them from time to time. He said, but if you want to go for a colonoscopy, I'll write you a yellow slip and you can go and get one. So colonoscopy is like $1,200-$1,500, and I thought, well, he's right. It probably is just my piles, my hemorrhoids. So, and the symptoms went away. So, and the colonoscopy place doesn't call you; you have to call it to arrange the appointment. So the symptoms went away, and then like 3 months later, they came back, and I was having aching in the pelvis, and then I couldn't drive for long times because of like a pain across my lower abdomen from staying bent over all the time, and the tiredness again. So I called up the doctor and he said, well, the ticket's still good, go and get your colonoscopy sorted. And I did, and that's when they found that I had a small tumour in my rectum, like the shape of a rubber band, not like a bulbous thing, but just the shape of a rubber band sort of raised on the surface of the tissue, close to my anus, and which would make it inoperable because it's also close to the prostate and everything else. So it's not like they can snip a piece out. It's actually embedded in the pelvis, your rectum sort of thing. So, and from there I got it diagnosed. The surgeon looked at it and said, well, it seems kind of small. Might be fine. Go for the scans. And I went for the CT scan, the MRI, and it had spread. It had metastasized to my liver. So then I had to go for the PET scan, which they give you like a radioactive ingredient that goes around sugar that goes around your blood. And the first dogs at the table to eat it is usually the cancer. They're the greedy ones. And it shows up on the PET scan. It showed up that it was pretty much all over my liver, and obviously in my rectum. So that was the diagnosis. So what treatment am I under at the moment? Well, chemotherapy, obviously. I've got a cocktail of those. They have side effects, but nothing really bad like in the old days, like vomiting and things like that. They've sorted all that out now. It's just say that mostly tiredness and aversion to things that are cold in your fingertips and your throat. So you just get used to drinking hot drinks. And I have these flavoured teas from Celestial Seasonings, and they're really nice. I've got to like them, and so I've got no problem really there. That's easy enough to adapt to. But yeah, day 3 or 4 and day 5, sometimes you just feel wiped out. But so the idea is that the chemotherapy will reduce the tumours enough so that maybe they're operable with any luck. And also I'm having Therasphere Y90 treatment, which is placing these tiny little glass beads that are full of radioactive material into the tumours, into my liver. And I've been mapped for it already. And they do this under a local anaesthetic, but it's a really, really strong local anaesthetic. It's really not too terrible, you know. But they go into your groin, up with a camera into your liver and find the tumours, and they also look at it on the screen while they're doing it, and put contrast in there and stuff and map it out. And you have to hold your breath because he takes a photograph and he needs a focused photograph, so that's why you've got to do it under a local. And I go back in a few weeks, and they're going to actually put the radioactive beads in, and the tumours they put them in strategic places so the tumours suck them in to the blood flow, through the blood flow, and they're inside the tumour and then kill it from the inside out. So it'd be great if that works, along with the chemotherapy. They've also, the surgeon that does it explained it to me like an Air Force attack on the tumours, you know, with this TheraSphere. And the ground force is the army, the chemotherapy that wipes up all the tiny stragglers, cleans it out of your blood, you know. So, yes, I'm looking forward to that. And the only other thing medical is they're doing some trials on my particular cancer, which is KRAS G12V, which was up until recently inoperable. It was up until 10 years ago, it was can't do much for you, get your house in order. But they're a university or a university hospital in Los Angeles is running a trial on it to do with the T-cell modification. And they've had great success with this T-cell modification in different mutations of cancer. And now they're working on my one. So there might be one ready in 4 years. If I can make it to 4 years, I'd be lucky. But it's something to look forward to nevertheless. Right, so this brings me to my second experimentation with psilocybin mushrooms. Yeah, wow. I went big. I took 6 grams. The hero dose is, what they call the hero dose is 5 grams. And it was a very, very intense experience. Extremely intense, not for the faint of heart. Don't even attempt it unless you've got some experience with psilocybin. Or if you're not able to let go, if you're a person that has to be in control all the time, start really, really low, because you will not be in control of this and you just have to go with it. So I started off, it was extremely dark, very oppressive patterns, fractals, intense, moving fast, quickly, regenerating. And this was projecting my negativity, my internal cesspit of darkness. It took me right there and put it in my face. And I'll be honest, I was on the verge of panic. It was very, very frightening. After a while, I managed to calm down enough to confront it, because I realized by my past experience that it's all inside of me, it's all in my mind, and it's all created by me. So I kind of just opened my eyes, relaxed into it, looked into it and said, okay, give me your worst, the worst thing you got. And that's when my mood started to lift and the colours got brighter and went from these dark browns and reds to greens. And then the positivity started to come back. And things started, the sun shone through the window. I could feel like a hands on my head, pointing my head to say, face the sun. Lay on the bed, face the sun, and let the sun stream in. And every time I moved into a different angle, it was like it was pushing me back to where I should be. These beautiful fractal shapes just appeared, and I felt this feeling of well-being and care, And I'd gone into this with the idea that I could give myself instructions, right? But I got this overwhelming narrative in my head that was saying, we know all about it. We're on it. We know what you've got. And whatever happens, it's going to be the right result. Not saying it's going to be a good result, but it's going to be the right result. And then I found myself in this huge expanse of space that was full of these, not full, but there were these beautiful red crystals everywhere. And as you looked at them, you could interact with them. And when you felt love, these crystals blossomed in these intricate, amazing shapes and patterns with like this kind of petrol blue hue over them. It's just fantastic. And I felt this overwhelming sensation of being welcomed and loved. I felt like a baby in a mother's arms. And I'm pretty sure it was the eternal mother of us all. And I just got this feeling that everything was going to be all right. And I got nothing to worry about. You're way bigger than this. And you're going to be around forever. And up until that point, I must say, I've been an atheist all my life. But I was so convinced by that. But I was only there for like 30 seconds, and then you're dragged away, and then it's all just shapes, fractals, spinning and turning around, and looking out the window and seeing like red patterns on the trees, and that everything seems to be moving and breathing, and then I just got this flood of information about energy, positive energy, and the power of it. It was just flooding into my brain, and it all made perfect sense. And how negative energy rots you. It just rots you. It kills you from the inside. And that's how all these illnesses start. They're this huge weight, this mass of stuff that's in you that just drags you down and kills your health. And I got this overwhelming urge to clear out all my negative energy. And it takes days, but you've got to get in now. If somebody stole from you, you've got to get in there and forgive them and move on, because it's doing you lasting damage. Or if you did something wrong to somebody, forgive yourself. So I imagine it like this huge mesocyclone storm cloud and this blackness underneath the cloud. And you want to bring sunlight in there, and you want to wash all the darkness out, and you want to clean that. And if you can do that and face your worst fears and the nagging things and the guilt and stuff you got down inside there, clear it out. And then I think that's the way forward for your self therapy is positive energy. And that's what I'm going to be exploring. And in the next episode, I'm going to be talking about how I'm going to do that. I'm reading certain ancient Indian literature and things like that, because those guys were at it 500 years BC. And believe it or not, those people even had like irrigation and sanitary systems before the ancient Greeks and the Romans. A lot of the mathematics comes from India. So, and you don't have to be religious. This stuff is just common sense, and it's probably rooted in quantum physics. So let's give it a go. It's going to be exciting, and it's going to be a positive experience. And my main goal is that somebody really benefits from this, if just one person benefits. That's it. All right. Thank you.